Meet Kate Porter. I have been flooded with requests to read her face. Had no idea who this gal was. So I did a little research. Normally I don't, but I gotta go. I have no idea who this is. I understand she's running for governor in California. It's been a fascinating read. So somebody had some attitude with her because there's things from several years ago that showed her to be rather unsavory and treated people very, very poorly. When people say something like this in someone that's a politician, there's some vendetta going on here. So take that for what it's worth. Now, let's find out who she is and what she's all about. There are 9 face shapes. She's a bucket face. High intellect. The basic tenet in face reading is more is more, less is less. Look at the size of her forehead. What's behind the forehead? The brain. High intellect. She's a bucket face. And again, the bucket face is, we tend to love the process of thinking, I also am a bucket face. We tend to be intellectually persistent thought leaders. We tend to overthink. And we bucket faces like a pat on the back. So she likes a pat on the back. And I don't think she's got a lot of those. And that can cause her some problems. So let's dig a little deeper into this. Right, left eye. Right eye is what we show to the world. It's our public persona. It's what we want the world to see. The left eye, and it's our mother's influence. The left eye is our true inner private self, and it's our father's influence. It's what we hide from the world. But cover up that left eye and just look at that right eye. She's intense. That's a step away from anger. I don't see anger, but she's intense. Now, when we cover up the opposite eye, I expected, based on what I saw on the videos, that I was going to see just nothing but anger. And that's not. What I see there, when I cover that up, there is sadness. And it's pretty dang pronounced. I just go with what I see, and whatever you see, go with it. But I see sadness. Now, notice her eyebrows. First thing we notice is they're kind of thin to the outside, thicker to the inside. In Western medicine, this is known as a Hertog sign. I believe she's got a bit of a thyroid problem. Now, the other thing with the eyebrows being thin to the outside, the other third, is a lack of sibling support. My guess is she didn't have a lot of sibling support growing up. Does that feed into maybe who she is? Very, very possible. Now, we take the eyebrows again and notice that they're slightly different heights. What we notice with this is we tend to have issues with relationship with a parent, usually a poor relationship with a parent or a step parent growing up. Teen years is when this was probably at its height. And lastly, with the eyebrows, notice that right eyebrow is kind of comes slanting down in. This is someone that's extremely critical. Now, the fact that it's on her right side, I think she's very critical of herself. I think she's also very critical of others. Very strong possibility she had a very critical mother. So sometimes the way people act can be driven into their DNA based on their life experiences. So we don't want to crucify everybody that's got some of these features simply because it's part of who they are. Nothing is good or bad in face reading. It just kind of is. Notice her upper eyelid on the left. It is definitely much more full. This is a gallbladder indicator. She most definitely has gallbladder issues. She has a number of health issues that I'm not going to get into that for obvious reasons. We're looking at more from a personality standpoint here. But the emotion of the gallbladder is anger. When we see this on the left side, this is internalized anger. And the fact that it's on the left, this is internalized anger over a male. And there was some comment about dumping potatoes on her husband's head. My guess is she doesn't have a husband anymore, just based on some of the things that I see in her face. And I don't know. I have to look deeper into her history. Pupils are next. They're kind of unlevel. This is a sign there's been a history of a TBI, traumatic brain injury, or concussion. There's some brain inflammation. When we see this, there's a heaviness to one side of the brain, and that usually is a result of inflammation, and then the body dumps water into the inflamed area, and it gets heavy, and we end up seeing one of the eyes kind of get lower. It's much more technically involved than that, but just from an ease of explanation, there's inflammation in her brain. Could that cause her brain to do things it shouldn't do? Absolutely. Cheeks are flat. This is a sign she resists authority, prefers to work alone, tends to be very moody, tends to be overly sensitive. And if you saw anything, she's definitely moody and overly sensitive. Her mouth, it's excessively narrow. I wish I'd had this picture when I was writing my book with my daughter. When we see this narrow mouth, it has to do with lack of a sense of safety. And it has to do with where the pupils line with the corner of the mouth. Her mouth is very, very, very narrow. She's hard to confide in others. She finds it very difficult to do that. Her head kind of rules her heart. She's going to think almost always with her head. And again, being a bucket face, that's her strength, is her intellect. But she's not letting her heart energy come with some of her thoughts. And if you see some of the things she's said and done, it's like, whoa, where's your heart in that situation? Corner of the mouth on the right side is kind of down. You see it kind of tilting to one side. This indicates some sadness, kind of some emotional loss. Did her mother pass? I mean, there's lots of possibilities. It could be with herself, that she's just not kind of happy, but there's some sadness, and this indicates that kind of, clowns will paint their face in such a way that this is the sadness. When they paint it up, It's happy when it's down. It's kind of sad. Hairline, she has a very wide hairline, which means she kind of has a rebellious tendency, loves to think on her own. And it's a little bit uneven as we go through, as we go across the top of it. This indicates, again, parental stress. She probably didn't have the support from a parent or step parent growing up that she would like to have. This is Kate Porter. I don't know if her career is over. It's sad this day and age that you can say one thing or do one thing and you're done for a career. It seems rather unfair, but this is what I see in Kate Porter. Hope you enjoyed. We're asked over and over and over again, can you read my face? The answer is yes. Matter of fact, I'd love to read your face. All you got to do is go to WTFWhytheface.com. Now, there's several options there. It's not a costly thing to do. First option is I can simply give you a written report. It'll be 7-8 pages long. I will read your face. I will go over psychological aspects, traits that are positive, traits that are negative, also some health issues. That is one fee. The second option is you'll also get a 7 to 8 page written report. Plus, I will physically call you. Questions will come up. I usually spend 30 to 60 minutes on the phone with you. Obviously, it's a little higher price because it's going to be more time involved. But a lot of questions will come up and you'll say, okay, I got that, but what does that really mean? And I can kind of explain a little more in depth. The third option is, again, 7 to 8 pages. I'll call you. But we can also discuss some options. If there's some things that you're concerned with, we can kind of point you in a direction. I can't physically treat you, but I can certainly make some suggestions when you talk to your own doctor. Pay attention to this or whatever it might be. So if you're interested, please upload your faces and we will be happy to read them for you. Would love to do it.